Good evening and welcome to tonight's training session, How to Sell and Fill Your Event. I'm Dean Seddon. I'm going to be hosting tonight's training session, but this is hosted by OxLEP. So if you're a business based in Oxfordshire and you're looking at how do I grow, how do I expand, how do I get expertise to help me develop the business, whether you're big, small, starting out or established, OxLEP has training, funding, lots of resources, grants that can help you in your business, help you expand, help you export, all of the different things that you need to do as a business. There's resources there for you. And during tonight's session, there'll be stuff that's appearing down here where you can get access to Peer Networks program and other programs that will actually help you develop your business. And it's all funded by government, European Union, things like that. So take a look at that stuff, go to the OxLEP website, have a look at what's happening because there's lots of stuff you can get access to for free. So tonight's session is going to be about how to sell and fill your event. I'm sure you're aware, the last 18 months, 2 years, we've had to use online events to gather crowds and present what we offer, and webinars and online events have become a thing that can be a tool to help you grow your business, to help you educate an audience, build an audience and communicate your value so you can use that to sell, acquire new customers and engage existing customers. So what we're going to look at tonight is how and some of the overview things you should be thinking about if you want to do an online event for a webinar or a discussion forum. How do I get people there and how do I use it to sell and promote my business without it becoming like going to a timeshare kind of thing where people are trying to convince you to buy something and it feels a bit pushy. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Just as a reminder, I'm Dean Seddon from Maverick. If you want to come and find me, you can find me on LinkedIn and we'll connect on there. And if you've got any questions from tonight, feel free to drop me a line there. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so just a few things. Why should you listen to me? So we host online weekly events with up to about, well, I say up to 3,000 people. Actually, these slides and updating, some of them we've done with 7,500 people with not one dime of advertising spend. In 2019, we did 50 live events in the UK and Europe in person, training events and events to grow business in person. So we've got massive expertise in this, and my career has been involved in how do I get people to come to things and how do I get people to come to events. Over 150,000 people have been through our training sessions, and we've worked in global media and live events for about 20 years. So in fact, it's probably 23. One of the first events I did, I put 500 people down in an event that historically had done about 100 people. So this is something I've learned over time about how to do events. I'm going to share it with you tonight so you can learn a little bit and maybe use it in your own business, whether it be a forum you're going to do, an exhibition, a conference or a webinar, whatever it is you're going to do. You'll have objectives and we'll walk through some of the things to get people there and also make it work for what you're trying to do. Because whether you're selling a product, whether you're selling a service, you're actually trying to convince some people that something's valuable. So the content of the event's valuable, the product that you're raising the awareness of, whatever it is, you're trying to convince people of something. So the principles are the same. So just a bit of screenshot, you can see some of the events that we've done here, that we've done ourselves, and we do them every week. So you can see that, we're not just making this up, we know how it works. So really, a fundamental point before we get any further, to get more sign-ups, your ideal clients need to believe that your event can help them solve their problem. And if you do that, you win. It's very hard to promote an event where people can't see what's in it for me. So make a note and say to yourself, what's in it for them? Now, very often what we do when we write down what's in it for them, it's actually what we think's in it for them that's actually in it for us. So what you need to do is really be honest with yourself and say, why would somebody give me an hour, 2 hours, whatever of their time? What do they want from that time? What's the trade-off? Because it is a trade-off getting somebody to come to an event. They're committing their time for a perceived benefit. And think of it like an exchange of money. If they're giving you £50, what are they going to get from it? Because that's how they do it. And your event, your online event, they have to go, 2 hours versus the benefit. And if the person or the audience can't see the benefit for them, and that benefit is valuable, equated against their 2 hours or 1 hour or whatever time it is, if they don't see the benefit, they won't attend, or they might sign up and no-show. No-show. So one of the key things you've got to do is establish what's the big win for them in giving you their time. And it is all about what's the benefit to them. If you're just going to showcase your product, they might not see the big win in that. They might think, oh, it's just a sales pitch. So what's the big value piece you're going to give them that's worth their time, which could be spent on other things? And you have to be really kind of impartial in thinking, what would a prospect think? Because my prospect doesn't know that my product's valuable. My prospects don't know this and that and the other. What will they see it from the outsider's point of view? So what we're going to cover tonight is the one big goal from your event. Have 4 whys for your attendees. Think world domination, big gun content, curiosity, and some tips for success. So we're just going to cover these things tonight. Real quick, real simple. We'll do it. You can ask questions to me on LinkedIn. You can put some in the chat, or you can email, and we'll share those with you as well. So feel free to just email questions in, or drop us questions in the chat or on my LinkedIn, and we'll answer them. Okay, so you've got to have one big goal from your event. What are you trying to achieve from your event? What's the thing that you want out of it? Do you want out of it that you've built some relationships you can follow up on? Do you want to educate an audience about how you can help them? What's the big win you want? Because it's really important that you define that, because if you don't, what will happen is you'll be flooded with all sorts of good ideas, and you go, oh, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. And what happens is your event gets really messy because you've got this idea, this idea, this idea, and sometimes conflicting ideas can mean that your message and your promotion gets confused, and so you end up with the wrong people at the webinar. Or you end up the wrong people at your event, or the live discussion, or the panel talk, or whatever you're going to do. So you need one clear top priority. If we're going to do this, this is what we measure success by. This is the outcome. This is what we want to achieve. Sometimes people will set one goal, and then at the end they'll have another goal. And what happens is they attract a crowd based on one thing, but then change it, and then they have a crowd coming to something where there's a completely different goal. And it's a surefire way for disappointment. You've got to stick to your guns, have one clear focus, land that message, communicate that value so that the goal is achieved. So you have to have 4 whys for your attendees, 4 whys. So we'll look at the 4 whys. And here's the thing. So when you're writing your event, when you're putting it together, you need 4 key things that they're going to get. Some people say 3, but I'd say 4. What are the 4 key things that they're going to benefit from the webinar? And it's not something like, we're going to build a great network, or you'll meet new friends. If it's business, that's not going to be the most biggest draw. What's the big draws that they can get from joining this event? It's important to write these down and test them. And remember, if I'm trying to target business owners, what's the 4 whys for them? Versus if I'm targeting a marketing manager, what's the 4 whys for them? They're different. They'll have different language. They'll have different outcomes. They'll have different objectives. So you need to define the 4 reasons why somebody should show up. Now, in your reminders, and it's always important to send reminders to people who are coming to the webinar or coming to the event, you should use these 4 whys maybe as blogs or as little pieces of copy when you're sending the reminders saying, don't forget to come on this day, here's the link, don't forget to join. So important you do reminders. You can emphasize one of these in each one. So you can build these out, but ultimately you need the 4 whys to get people to come. And they have to be valuable to the attendee, not necessarily valuable to you as the host. It's about what the attendee is going to get. Why should they show up? So the 4 whys are really the key reasons why they should show up, why they should come, and why they should actually turn up. Why when they're busy on a Tuesday afternoon or a Tuesday evening and they should be doing something else, they've got their tax return to do, or they've got their paperwork to do, or they've got their children to look after, they should put the time in to come to it. That's what the 4 whys are. What's the big value pieces they're going to win from it, so that they know, I must come, I don't want to miss out on that information, I don't want to lose out on that. So not every event addresses a problem, but every successful event does. What do I mean by that? Well, human beings like to go to things to learn solutions to problems. We spend time trying to find answers to problems. Google made a multi-billion-dollar business from having a way that you can search for things that you're not sure of. Wikipedia is out there because people want to know information and they don't know the answer. So having an understanding of your audience, your prospective attendees' challenges and needs and frustrations and what keeps them up at night will help you design a webinar that speaks into those needs, so that you can show people how your product or your service can help them meet those needs. But they're coming not because they want to see your product, they're coming because they want to see those needs met. And so if you can help them see how you can meet those needs as part of the webinar, as part of the topic, they'll be very interested in knowing more. So not every event addresses a problem, but every successful event does. And if you're using events to market your business and promote products and services, you need to understand deeply the big challenges of your customers. So if your event addresses a problem, if it doesn't address the problem, it's optional. Yeah, there's no pressing need to show up. There's no compelling reason to show up, and so it's optional. Do I feel like it? Is it interesting? So when there's a problem and somebody, if you, for an example, you put a website, a webinar together about how to fill events, who are the people, how to pack out an event and have a successful webinar or something like that. You're appealing to people who want to fill a webinar. You're appealing to people who want to fill their event because maybe they've had challenges around getting the events full. Maybe they've had challenges promoting it and they're not sure how to do it. So you want the problem makes it something that's pressing and they need to attend. And there's a difference between they want to attend and need. Want is not committed. Need is it's something I have to do. So you need to bear in mind that problems are something people need, whereas desires or outcomes are something people want, and needs are more powerful than wants. Now, what do I mean by world domination? It's a bold thing to say, and I'm using it tongue-in-cheek. I'm not saying that you have to have 7 billion people know about your webinar, but what I am saying is you have to bang your drum. If you think putting one post out every so often is going to be enough, you have to really bang the drum. And if you're doing an event or webinar or online discussion panel or anything like that for the first time, you will have to bang that drum until you find the level of energy you need to put in to make something happen. Now, every webinar and every event is different, but there is always, whether it's in person or online, there is that banging of the drum that you have to do to drum up the energy, to keep the motivation, to get people aware of it. It's not a one-hit wonder, and don't assume because you just put the event out and say, hey, it's here, people are going to see why they need to come. You have to really do the work. So you've got to think, I've got to get lots of people to know about it, and I've got to do it on a consistent basis. So you've got to think world domination. So don't underestimate the work that's needed to get sign-ups. Some people might have to see your event 7, 8, 9 times before they see, oh, I should come to this. 7, 8 or 9 times. So repeat, 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 repeat. It will take some time. Don't just think, oh, I'll invite people once and they'll all come. Some people are busy. Some people don't miss things. Some people skip over things. You know, some people don't see the posts you put out on social media. You have to be consistent and bang the drum. So a little metric you need to think about. For every sign up that you get, you probably need 100 people to see it. And I'll give you a little example. I say little example. I was drafted in about 9 years ago to an event at Wembley Stadium that was about to be cancelled. So the event had struggled basically to drum up enough interest. And so it was weeks away from being cancelled, 6 weeks out with hardly any tickets sold, 6 weeks out with no tickets sold. And I was drafted in to go, how are we going to fix this? Because we don't want to cancel the event. There'll be big penalties. But I had to get at least 40,000 people to buy tickets in 6 weeks. There was no marketing budget. So all I had is social media and an email account. That's all I had. And so what we worked out was actually to get that 40,000 people in the stadium, we had to get like a lot more people to see it. So we worked out the metric was one sign up for every 100 that saw our marketing. So you work the maths out and you go, well, if I need 100 people there, I need to get it out in front of about 10,000 people. So you just need to think about those metrics. And for every paid event, you probably need to get 1,000 people to see it. Now, sometimes niche markets and things like that, it's a bit easier than that. And particularly if you've got an established database, it can be a lot easier. But I'd rather you walk away from this thinking, I understand the sheer effort that goes in, and they're very rewarding webinars. I know I'm telling you it's a lot of work, but actually they're very powerful in moving. I talk about it as you're moving an audience from one place to another. And if you do a webinar or a live event and you successfully deliver the content and add the value, you move people from being on the fence to very, very appreciative of what you've done, which is a great place to move cold prospects to warm leads, or move a cold audience to a warm audience. It can be very powerful. So yes, I'm telling you, there's a lot of work involved and there's a lot of banging the drum and repetition and doing the work, but actually you can move a lot of people quickly. Think about it like a salesperson. If a salesperson was cold calling people, they'd be cold calling lots of people to find people who are responsive. With a webinar, if you do it well, you can get 50, 60, 100. The big ones we've done people with like 5,000 people, 7,000 people, where we've really honed in on the message and really understood the pains and challenges of the audience. And you move 5, 6, 7,000 people from going, we don't really know who you are, but your webinar topic looked interesting and we have some resonance with that challenge. We move those people to going, they know Dean's name. They know who Dean is, and Dean's give them some real pieces of value. So you can move a lot of people from they're not really knowing you to somebody goes, these guys have got something to say. It was really interesting. It was helpful. And so what you can do is nurture through events. You can nurture through webinars. You can market through those things. You can take somebody from not knowing who you are to seeing that you have some value. You can take people on a journey by using these webinars. And you don't have to pitch, sell. You don't have to say, buy my thing, buy my thing. We've got 5 left. It's not QVC. It's just you communicating value. And the best type of sale generally is when the customer sees their need for you. And actually a webinar is a brilliant place and a brilliant way to do that. So just to understand the metrics, so you understand that don't underestimate it. Highly rewarding to do it, but don't underestimate the work you're going to need to do. Actually, having done this from live events originally and going online, I found that the first one's really hard. If you're going to do them on a regular basis, the first one's quite hard. But once you get past it, you actually build a routine and it becomes more like a machine to turn all of this stuff around and make it happen. So remember the metrics, just have these as rule of thumb metrics. For every one free sign up, you need 100 people to see the marketing. For every one paid sign up, you need 1,000 people to see the marketing. Just general rules of thumb, but it gives you an idea of what effort do we need to go to. So big gun content. Big gun content is a way of using organic social media to really leverage and promote the webinar. So what does that look like? So this is a real simple structure you can use where you focus on how to use content to communicate your event. So it starts with problem. 4 stages that people go through to take action. Problem. They have to realize they have a problem. So brilliant tip, structure your webinar around key challenges. Again, the next stage is outcome. People want to achieve something. So if problem is the need, I need to fix this. Outcome is the want. That's the desire to move forward. That's the progress they want to make. So where do they want to be? If this is where they are and they're unhappy with it and it's hurting or uncomfortable, where do they want to be? Then, as part of those 2 sections, they make a decision to go, we're going to do something about this. And then they decide on the process or the solution that will help them solve that problem. That's the journey people go through. And so when you're doing big gun content, what you need to do is speak to these different areas that people are involved in. Are they in a problem state? Are they looking for an outcome? Where are they trying to decide? Are they stuck? Are they confused? Do they not know the answer? And then about the solution. Now, the solution stage is where the minority of your customers will be. The vast majority of your customers will be in a problem state or they'll be in an outcome state. That's where they generally are. Decision stage is where they're Googling, how do I do this? How can I do that? And so actually some brilliant websites. Answerthepublic.com is brilliant for helping you understand the key words and key messaging that people are searching for across Google and social and the internet. But look for what's the problems, what are people thinking about with the problem, what are people looking to achieve, outcome, what's the decisions they're trying to make, and what's the solutions, what's the criteria around what they're trying to do. If you work through that, and I know we're going through it quite quickly, but if, we've got other sessions on this as well. If you think about that, it'll actually help you refine your message. It'll actually help you understand what topics you should cover. What are the key pressing issues that you can help with in terms of topics? But then it'll help you build a compelling title. And the title is what really makes the webinar fly. The wrong title will attract the wrong people. So you have to choose a title that's relevant to the audience and has a pressing, identifies the audience with a pressing problem. So how to solve X and achieve Y as a live event would be a very simple but actually powerful way of doing it. How to solve X and achieve Y. And we've got some resources if you need them. Email us, email OxLEP or message me on LinkedIn and we'll send you some examples of templates you can use to create titles and headlines and things like that. So the 4 stages, you need to think about those 4 stages. Now this is the most important point. And it's tricky to get across because often what we do when we're creating an event, we want to give people lots and lots of information about why they should come. Actually, it's been proven that the more information you give people about attending the event and why they should attend, the less likely they are to sign up. And the reason being is this: people sign up for something because they're curious about what's going to be talked about. If you explain too much about the topic, they might go, I know that, I know about that, I've read that before, I don't need to come. So your 4 key whys are really, really important, and you don't really want to go much beyond that because every word that you add to it, every extra bit could make people realize I already know this information, so I don't need to come. When in reality, we know that sometimes people know something, but they don't really know something. or they think they know something, but they don't know it in full. So you, by over-explaining, overloading information, hoping the information will convince people to come, could in fact mean that people decide not to come. Now, the inverse of that is if you don't give people at least the 4 whys and a bit of information, 4 whys and maybe a paragraph, people will go, I don't know what this is about, I'm not sure whether I should come. So there's almost a Goldilocks here of too much information and people won't come, too little information and people won't come. So curiosity creates sign-ups. Don't be generic or waffle on. Leave people with unanswered questions. Don't tell everybody everything about why, because they won't come. Be clear about the problem and the outcome, and make sure your title does what it says on the tin, if you're familiar with that phrase. In other words, don't make your title and your topic ambiguous that people can't quite work out what this is all about. You want a healthy amount of curiosity, but you don't want confusion. Confusion is, what is this? And curiosity is, what is this? Same words, slightly different intent. So curiosity is good, confusion is bad. So some tips for success, and we're doing this session pretty quick tonight. But again, email us questions. If you want the copies of the slides, happy to share them with you. And find me on LinkedIn if you want to, and we can ask, go back and forth on questions there. So, quick tip, having an overview document will really help you understand all the things you need to do. Again, if you want a copy of ours, you can have a copy of ours, but this has just got, what's the name of the event? Is there a price? Who is it for? Is there a strap line for the event? Just a quick, simple, if it's how to sell on LinkedIn, what's the strap line so it helps people understand whether it's relevant to them? Is it for business owners, salespeople, marketers, freelancers? Who's it for? The 4 whys, the 4 big reasons to attend. What's your big goal? What's the 1 paragraph explainer? And do you have a bit more detail or a bit of more of an overview that you can either use somewhere else or keep in your back pocket so you understand why? And then literally there's a checklist there of all of the things that you need to do in terms of promoting it. Is there a press release? Is there a website banner? Is there promotional video? Is there social media posts? Is there a landing page? Is there a LinkedIn event? What's all the things that you need to do? This is really useful in helping you make sure you get everything done and nailed and you know for certain what's going on. 3 key platforms that you can use for events. Yes, you can use independent platforms. You know, you can use GoToWebinar and Zoom and all that stuff. But from a promotional point of view, these 3 platforms are pretty good. So obviously LinkedIn has its own events feature. It has an events feature on your own personal LinkedIn account, but it also has an events feature on a company page. And the company page is really good because you can actually set up registration forms organically, and when people register you get their email address, and so you can send the reminders and follow up and get them to show up. Facebook, depending on your business, it may or may not be relevant, but Facebook has its own event feature. You can invite people to, you can promote your events. So that's a brilliant feature for getting more people to it, either through organic if you've got the friend network, but also through adverts. And then Eventbrite, a lot of people miss Eventbrite. Eventbrite has its own event platform. You can charge for it, you can do it free, but it also, when you post on Eventbrite, you can tag the event with the topic keywords, and Eventbrite will aggregate it on its network, and you'll get signups just through Eventbrite organically. Not huge numbers, but some. Eventbrite also has a free email marketing software built into it, so you can send emails to your database from it to invite them. And there are promotional tools in there too. When we do an event, we generally use LinkedIn and Eventbrite. We're not really a Facebook organization, but we could do, and we have done in the past. These I find are great for attracting people to your event. So getting people out of your network, out of your friends list, out of your bubble, So we make sure we use them and put them out, and it really does add, and we get lots of new people coming to our events because we've deliberately gone out of our network. So a couple of things to remind: use a public event hosting platform or event promotion platform, LinkedIn, Eventbrite. Don't overload the registration form. The more information you ask for, the less likely people are going to register. That's so important. Use custom tracking links so you can see what works. Eventbrite has them. You can use Google Analytics to do them too. Make sure you've tested your event before you put advertising budget behind it. So invite some people and see how many people respond, so you know you've got your topic right and all of that stuff. Make sure you use 3 or 4 or 5 whys in your big gun content. So any posts that you write on social media, make sure you emphasize the reasons to attend. List your event on LinkedIn events, Facebook event, and invite. Never be more than 48 hours away from a promotion. So in other words, in your event season, you should think about a 48-hour window where you're doing something promotional, just to build that momentum behind what you're doing. And again, use conversion tracking for future marketing. So if people sign up on your landing page, on our Eventbrite or anything like that, or on your Facebook, you can retarget them using advertising. So it's really important that you think about those things. So it's not just about how can we get people to the event, but how can we follow up with them? And we can use ads, we can use emails, all that stuff after the event. So there's not really any Q&A at the moment coming through. I'm not sure whether the chat's working tonight, but if there is, we'll follow up in the chat with you. Events are a brilliant way to grow your business and promote your products, and I highly encourage you to do it. Again, OxLEP has a lot of resources on helping you build your business. So the little strip below here, do reach out to OxLEP if you need grants or funding or support or expertise, because there's probably something out there that can help. And I know particularly their business support tool will be useful for you, because it'll help you see where you can get support. It does what it says on the tin. But also peer networks, they'll help you gain access to expertise and business leaders that will advise you and guide you in some of the challenges and some of the opportunities that might be ahead. And events are an opportunity for you. They might seem a little bit daunting. You might feel like, I don't want to go in front of a camera, or I don't want to put myself out there, or what if I mess up my presentation? All of those things are real and genuine concerns, but you don't get over them and you don't learn how to deal with them by not doing them. You learn by doing. So thank you for watching tonight. I hope this has been useful. Go do your events. Come find me on LinkedIn, Dean Seddon. And if there's questions, I'm happy to answer. But don't forget to check out OxLEP's resources that will help you grow your business, help you get funding, help you get support. Go check those out, because they're valuable and will help you, and they're free. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.